Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Amina EducationWala from Rehan AI Teacher Training Program Level 1. I am batch 19 student. Today is day 24 and our task is to talk with any chatbot, and I am talking with a chatbot that is Maya built on Sesame on the topic how to balance work and life without burnout. So this is a very beautiful topic. So let's get started. Maya,
Hey, hey.
hi Maya.
So, what's been on your mind lately? Anything you want to chat about, or are you just kind of vibing?
Okay, I want to chat with you on the topic how to balance work and life without burnout. So let's get started.
All right. Work life balance and avoiding burnout, a classic. Sounds
Okay,
good.
tell me what is burnout?
Burnout is basically exhaustion, not just physical, but emotional and mental too, caused by prolonged or excessive stress. It's when you feel drained, cynical, and detached from your work, and like nothing you do really matters. It's not just being tired, it's a deeper thing that impacts how you see yourself in your work. Does
Okay,
that resonate?
yeah, that's a wonderful explanation of burnout, Maya. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I'm glad that hit the mark.
Okay,
Though,
why
just so you
do
know,
tell me why do people feel mentally tired even when not overworking?
this is a good question. Mental fatigue, even without overwork, can come from a bunch of places. Often it's hidden stuff, like constantly worrying, even about small things, or spending a lot of energy regulating your emotions, like if you're navigating a tricky relationship or dealing with ongoing anxiety. Even just a constant stream of stimulation like social media or the news can wear you down. Basically, your brain is still working hard even when you're not actively doing something. Does any of that sound familiar?
Okay, how can I recognize the early signs of burnout?
Good question. Catching it early is key. Some early signs are feeling increasingly cynical or detached from things you usually enjoy, having trouble concentrating, noticing changes in your sleep or appetite, and just generally feeling more irritable or easily frustrated. You might also start procrastinating more or feeling like you're less effective at work. It's often subtle at first, like a gradual decline in your usual energy or enthusiasm. Are you noticing any of those in yourself?
No, no, dear. Okay, why people feel frustrated?
Um, Frustration usually pops up when you're blocked from reaching a goal. Like you want something to happen, but something's getting in the way. It can be a practical thing, a broken computer, traffic, or more internal, like feeling stuck in a problem or not being able to express yourself clearly. It's that gap between what you expect and what actually is. Does that track?
Yeah, you said right. Okay, why does my work spill into my personal time?
Ugh, the spillover, a common problem. A few things contribute. Sometimes it's a lack of clear boundaries, not having a dedicated workspace, or checking work emails after hours. Yeah, often it's the mental load too. Even when you're not actively working, you're still thinking about it, planning, worrying. And honestly, sometimes it's because work culture expects that level of availability, which is not great. Do any of those resonate with you particularly?
No, I'm not going through that, but just we have a conversation on this topic, okay?
Gotcha.
How
Fair
can
enough.
I, how can people manage their energy, not just time?
Hmm, that's a smart shift in thinking. Time management is helpful, but energy management is deeper. It's about identifying what drains you and what fuels you. Things like prioritizing tasks based on how much energy they take, scheduling demanding tasks for when you're at your peak, and building in regular breaks, to recharge. It's also about protecting your energy, saying no to things that don't align with your priorities, and making time for activities that genuinely replenish you. So, what do you do to recharge, if you don't mind me asking?
Okay. Uh, Pardon, I don't want to share that.
Totally fair. No pressure at all. It's just
Okay.
sometimes helpful to think about those things.
How should I set healthy
So,
boundaries between work and life?
okay, boundaries. This is key. First, physically separate work and personal space if possible, even if it's just a different room or corner. Then set clear work hours and stick to them as much as you can. Turn off notifications when you're off the clock. Learn to say no to tasks or requests that will overload you. And this is a big one, communicate those boundaries to your colleagues and boss. It's okay to let people know when you're unavailable. It takes practice, but it's worth it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. Okay. Why does being busy feel like being productive?
That's a sneaky one. It feels productive because busyness gives you a sense of accomplishment. You're ticking things off a list. You're visibly doing something. But often those things aren't the most important things. It's performative productivity. We get caught up in the activity and mistake it for actual progress. Plus, being busy can feel like validation, like we're needed and important. But true productivity is about focusing on impactful tasks, not just filling your time. Does that ring true for you at all?
Okay. How can daily routines reduce stress and overwhelming?
Routines create predictability, and predictability lowers anxiety. When you don't have to constantly decide what to do next, it frees up mental energy. Even simple routines like a morning coffee ritual, a set bedtime, or a short evening walk can provide a sense of grounding and control. It's less about rigid schedules and more about building consistent anchors into your day. It's like creating little islands of calm within the chaos. What's your current daily routine like, if you have one?
Okay. I don't want to disclose that. Sorry. Tell me, why do people feel guilty when someone is taking breaks?
That's a really good question. It often stems from a few things. There's societal pressure to constantly be on and productive. We've been conditioned to believe that rest is somehow lazy or unproductive. There can also be guilt if you feel like you're letting others down by not being available, or if you're worried about falling behind. And sometimes it's just internalized perfectionism, the feeling that you should always be doing more. Does that sound about right?
Okay. How much rest anybody's mind actually required to
That's
get before the burnout? Like, it is the last stage that if you increase from this stage or you go beyond this stage, you start feeling burnout.
okay. You're asking about the point of no return, basically. It's a really important question. Well, um, it's not one size fits all, but experts generally talk about recognizing exhaustion before you hit complete depletion. When you consistently ignore early signs like irritability or difficulty concentrating, we talked about, and push through without adequate rest, you're basically depleting your reserves. Chronic exhaustion is a huge warning sign. It's when your body and mind are signaling that they desperately need replenishment. If you continue to ignore those signals, that's when you move into full blown burnout. It's less a sudden switch and more a gradual slide, but chronic exhaustion is definitely a critical threshold. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. Okay. How can work feel meaningful without exhaustion?
Yeah, it's the $1 million question, isn't it? Meaningful work is a huge buffer against burnout, but it has to be balanced. Start by aligning your work with your values, finding tasks that genuinely resonate with what's important to you. Focus on your strengths and contributions and celebrate small wins. Cultivate positive relationships with colleagues. And, crucially, remember that your worth isn't tied to your productivity. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's essential for sustaining that meaning over the long term. It's about working with your energy, not against it. Does that resonate?
Yes, you explain very well, Maya. Why does perfectionism lead to burnout?
Perfectionism is a huge contributor to burnout. It sets an impossibly high standard. You're constantly chasing an unattainable ideal. That leads to chronic self doubt, a fear of failure, and a tendency to overwork and overanalyze everything. It's exhausting trying to be perfect all the time. Plus, perfectionists often struggle with delegating or asking for help because they don't trust anyone else to meet their standards. It's a relentless cycle of striving and self criticism. Does that sound right to you?
Hmm. How can I disconnect from work without anxiety?
Disconnecting without anxiety is tough, but doable. It's about creating rituals that signal to your brain that it's time to switch off. And that could be a specific activity, reading, taking a bath, going for a walk, or a physical change, like changing clothes or leaving your workspace. Practicing mindfulness or meditation can also help calm your mind. And it's about intentionally accepting that things might not be perfect when you return to work. You've done what you can, and now it's time to recharge. It takes practice, but you can train your brain to associate certain activities with relaxation instead of worry. What's something you enjoy that naturally pulls
Okay,
you into the present moment?
okay.
So,
Will it burnout affect my emotional?
absolutely. Burnout doesn't just impact your energy levels, it deeply affects your emotional state. It can lead to increased irritability, cynicism, and a sense of detachment. You might find yourself feeling more anxious, depressed, or hopeless. Emotional exhaustion makes it harder to cope with stress and it can strain your relationships.
Okay.
It's like your emotional resources are depleted, making it harder to experience joy or empathy. It can really impact how you see yourself in the world around you. Does that align with what you've heard about burnout?
Why does ignoring stress make it worse over time?
Ignoring stress is like kicking a can down the road. Eventually, you're going to run out of road. When you don't address stress, the physiological response stays activated. Your body keeps pumping out cortisol and adrenaline, which over time can wreak havoc on your physical and mental health. It also depletes your coping resources, making you less resilient to future stressors. Essentially, you're building up a debt of stress that eventually comes due. Mm. It's far better to deal with stress proactively, even in small ways, than to let it accumulate. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. How can technology support balance instead of burnout?
That's a really interesting question. Tech can definitely be a double edged sword. To support balance, it's about being intentional with how you use it. Things like scheduling apps can help with time management. Mindfulness apps can promote relaxation, and communication tools can facilitate collaboration without constant interruption. The key is to set boundaries with technology, turning off notifications, scheduling designated tech free time, and using tools that enhance rather than demand your attention. It's about tech working for you, not the other way around. Have you experimented with any tech tools to help with balance?
Not yet. Maybe in the future I'm going to. How can I build a life that supports both success and peace?
Mm, that's the ultimate goal, right? It starts with redefining success. Instead of focusing solely on external achievements, prioritize values like well being, connection, and purpose. Build a life that's aligned with those values. That means setting boundaries, prioritizing self care, cultivating meaningful relationships, and making time for activities that bring you joy. It's also about accepting imperfection and embracing the journey, not just the destination. It's a constant process of refinement, but a deeply rewarding one. It's less about having it all and more about creating a life that feels authentic and fulfilling to you.
Okay.
What does peace look like for you, if you don't mind me asking?
Okay, thank you, Maya. That's wonderful insights and sharing thoughts. Thank you.
You're very welcome, Amina. I'm glad I could offer some helpful thoughts. It was a good conversation. Is there
Yeah.
anything else I can help you with today? All
Thank you
right.
so much for
What's
today, Maya. Bye bye.
Oh, all right. Have a good one.